I forgot my white coat at home, my thick glasses, so I can't tell you that I'm a scientist who knows what he's talking about regarding the atom and the energy source that is powering up the atom. The science always tried to prove that the religion is wrong. It's like the teenager trying to prove that the parents are wrong. It's a good thing. They try to feel independent. They try to have a voice. Sometimes the parents are wrong and they just pass the information from their ancestors down to the kids, and the rebellious kids, like the science and the scientists, um, are trying to fight back, are trying to have their own say, which is a good thing. It's a human behavior of the strong people. And today I'm going to share my thoughts regarding the atom model. It's up to you if you want to continue watching what I'm going to say. For many years, the scientists and the curious minds try to come up with some explanation how the world is being powered up, where the energy comes from, what is the building block that was used to build whatever we see around all this world, because must be something smaller than we can see, something that was a unique particle that was used to not only to build the world but power up everything and keep everything stable and prevent collapsing everything. So what makes this particle what it is? And yeah, there were lots of experiments. uh, Sometimes the scientists were trying to prove that there was a god that actually is powering up this particle, but they had to know what it is. And we had some known names, uh, Max Planck, and then was Bohr. They did work on this type of research, and they perform a bunch of experiments and calculations, and they figured that there is an energy source inside the atom. And they went into these details, but they got lost in details. So instead of finding the source that is powering up the atom, they got lost in calculations and demonstrations and formulas. But nobody explained, including the quantum mechanics experts. They could not explain where the atom got this power. And if you want to do some reading about quantum mechanics, they would tell you all sort of theories, and you will see a bunch of drawings and concepts and stuff. But again, they get lost into the details, and it's like they forget the main question. How come this atom is in motion till some external forces is coming from outside and is breaking this atom in pieces, or is changing its structure into an isotope or into a different type of atom? So what makes this atom keep moving? It's in motion because you need this kinetic energy from somewhere. We know the energy cannot be um, like a lost. Energy in the universe is get conserved. So you preserve the energy, but you cannot gain energy. You cannot lose the energy. But the original source of energy that powered up the whole planet, that powered up all these atoms in the world, where it came from. And the science might point you to the Big Bang theory. right? But where the Big Bang got the energy from? Nobody has the answer. They always come up with some sort of a scientific terms to confuse people, and you read, and only few have the patience to read the whole uh, scientific report or whatever thesis or any other scientific document, because they use terms, scientific terms, and the average folk get bored. It's like 3 phrases or 5 minutes in the reading. Is okay. I got lost. I'm gone. I'm out of here because I have no idea what these people are talking about. So people give up. And those who have the patience to go through the whole document or research, they still don't get the answer where this energy comes from. So if you believe in God, then you think, okay, God is powering the whole quantum field, is powering through some sort of an invisible energy, and God made this field out of some sort of an invisible energy that powers up the whole thing, right? But is it a dynamic field or is it a static field? Is it like magnetic field or is like electromagnetic field? Like it's vibrating, it's moving because the energy has to move somehow to have an energy flow. Because the atoms are in motion, electrons are in motion, nuclei have subatomic, subnuclei particles that are in motion. So the field that is powering up this atom must be in motion. So where this field comes from? So if you are one of those religious people, you think, oh yeah, you know what? I don't care. I just know God created the world in 7 days because the Bible tells me. But that's it. So you don't want to dig deeper into any other explanation because it involves some science, and if you're religious, you're less likely to be to have a scientist type of mindset. So it's like a two worlds. They don't want to talk to each other. The science don't want to say, you know what? Yeah, maybe those guys, the dudes uh, at the church, maybe they have a point. How about we grab on that point and we expand, see where it goes? Because they grab different rabbit holes and they dig deep, and they use taxpayer money and they end up nowhere. And somewhere along the line, another dude comes and say, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, the previous theory, the EMC square or whatever theory was not really good. It was kind of working, but we have a quantum mechanics theory now, and it's different. It's better, right?" Um, but now I'll give you the idea. And I keep saying this. The atom is made out of energy, right? It's not really a material thing. It's like a field of energy, but it's not any kind of energy. So if you want to think a little bit deeper, it's condensed energy. So out of energy, the creator made these little clusters of energies, like some blobs of condensed energy, and created electrons, nuclei, protons, whatever the atom is made of, right? So if you think just a bit deeper, but if you think deeper than that, so you have this condensed form of energy, but how come this energy, which is supposed to be the same energy, condensed energy in the electrons, in the field, in the nuclei, in all these components that are part of the atom, how come the same energy made the electrons, but also different charges in the protons or other components? How come it's the same energy, but how come you polarize the energy? You take this energy, and how come? Because this is the same type of energy. How you polarize this energy without adding external energy to polarize this energy, to give that energy some information? So the answer is that this energy is actually information. It's programmed information. And in the program, in the specific of that condensed energy, is being written information about the size of the electrons, the electrostatic forces, the speed they spin around the nucleus, the size of the nucleus, and everything else. Those are parameters. So parameters are actually information, and information doesn't appear from out of nowhere. Someone has to write that information in the field, to program this field to shape that field of energy, right? So it's not actually energy, it's a made up energy, it's a made up field that has characteristics, have specifications, have values added to the field in order to give the field these shapes and other parameters. It's like you grab some plaster and you create some shapes out of the plaster, and you give some forms to the plaster, and you create some apples or anything else. So you can think that God or a creator took the field, this field, and made these little particles, and those are the basic particles, and somehow multiplied by putting this thing into a generating machinery, into a generating system that generated the immense amount of atoms in a whole universe, right? That was probably the source of the Big Bang, some sort of a special device or special system that actually generated this big explosion, expansion, right? You can think that way. But still, it must be a huge source of energy. But actually, there is no such a thing in the whole universe. You might be able to find a black hole as a negative form of energy, like something opposite to the Big Bang, right? So you can have big bangs in some sort of parts of the universe that are unknown to us, and the black holes, and you might see some sort of a circuit, like a black hole in our universe, and actually it's expanding behind. Oh, did I just give you an idea to think about? Like what's behind the black hole? It's another universe that is expanding. So sucking in from here, expanding the other way. But when ours started, so we can consider that ours started from the opposite side of the black hole. Let's say we have an anus, right? And inside of that anus is one universe inside of the body, and outside is expanding. Some diarrhea is coming out and expanding. Does it make sense? Right? So now our world was created and is like a tube. So one side is our expanding world that we think is like it comes from the Big Bang, and inside the body is the other world that is kind of shrinking or is absorbing through the black hole inside. Does it make sense? That's a stupid concept because I'm not a scientist. That's why you will say that's stupid, that's so fucking stupid, because I'm not a scientist. But if I had my white coat and my thick glasses, you would say, "Wow, how come nobody thought about that? What?" Right? You are human. You are human, and that's normal to think that way. That's okay. Now, but that is an explanation which is not. It's just for those believing that we are all made out of energy. But if you think deeper than that, it's a design, it's a program that makes everything programmed that way, to work that way, including this microparticle, the atoms, right? And who did that? Who did that? Who created this world to work that way? Some people think consciousness, some people think quantum fields, other quantum mechanics, other people in the past atoms, all sort of human mind generated concepts. And the more we think, the farther we go. Why? Because we want to move away from God as an explanation of everything, as a creator of this thought, the thought of our world. So his thought created the whole program, including the made up energy and the made up energy condensed, which created this material world we sense through our five senses and through our scientific tools, which are made out of matter, and the matter is made out of that energy. So with these building blocks, we created tools, we created stuff to see our world, but we only see from inside. Why? Because our tools are made out of the same material, like our senses, right? So until we get something like antimatter or some other weird outside of our dimension type of systems and tools to see ourselves and our system from outside, like God sees us from outside our box, we won't be able to see the creation, right? We can generate theories, but we can't see creation. We can't see ourselves because we are into a separate world. And how God communicates with us, let's say if God is not the system or the entity that powers up the whole world, the energy, the quantum field, everything that we are made of and our world is made of, how God is communicating or transcending energy. Because you may think there must be an invisible field, okay? So God or the creators or something is, if you believe in God, is using some sort of a field. No, because that field is also energy. So if God is not using energy, what is using? It's using information. It's using information to transfer data back and forth, to reprogram our world, to make changes, including, I don't know, upgrading your DNA, something like that. So that's at the information level. So we are a species of software into a big, big program. It's a super complex program, and we are allowed to see only certain things, right? So, oh, are you asleep yet? No? Okay, see you later. Bye bye.